Good evening. Welcome to the Wednesday, July 17th meeting of the Lowell Conservation Commission. I would like to start with a item of continued business, a request for determination of applicability. Wendy Luna, 155 Topman Street. An RDA has been filed by Wendy Luna seeking to construct 2 decks at 155 Topman Street. The proposed work is within the 100-foot buffer of a protected wetland. Anybody online in person to speak on this item? Come on up. Sure. Introduce yourself by name and address, if you don't mind, before you speak, and join us in the microphone one at a time.
Rafael Rivera, 155 Topman.
Sam Skarmiest, 37 Glen Ave, Chelmsford.
Good evening. I'd like to hear a little bit about what you have in mind. Tell us a little bit about your project.
So I guess he had existing decks with footings already poured, and he's just trying to rebuild right where the old footings kind of were, but we dug them out. The old ones were kind of corroded and whatnot, so we put new ones in place of the old ones. And we're just trying to do like a 5 by 10 foot deck with a little roof on it. We're not doing any rain barrels, so everything's gonna go back in the soil, and it's literally like 6 by like 8.5 foot roof, and pretty much gutters if they need it.
And you said there's no footing change, there's no soil destabilization?
Nope. It was all compactable, no compostables, nothing. It was all set. It was already set up before I made it.
If that's the case, then I don't have any other questions. Yeah. A motion?
Approve.
We're looking for a determination here. So our options are positive and negative, and we are looking for a -3 determination if we feel that there's nothing at issue with this project.
I'll make a motion for a -3 determination.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So -3 determination means that we feel that you are within the borders of our jurisdiction, but we don't see it as a negative impact to the wetlands, and you are approved as far as our board. So feel free to take the paperwork from Dylan and the conservation agent that can be produced tomorrow.
I can't. I'm going to be out of the office tomorrow, so I can't speak for the other staff.
Check in with the conservation agent, pick up your paperwork, and then use that to apply for your building permit.
I just would come to you, and then we go to apply for our permit.
You should be all set at the counter.
All right, so we just go there. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night.
You as well.
You too.
All right, new business. A request for determination of applicability, MassDOT Highway, project location VFW Highway, Route 110. An RDA has been filed by MassDOT Highway Division to make road improvements on the VFW Highway between First Street Boulevard and the Drakeit Town line. The work is within a 100-foot buffer zone of the Merrimack River. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Bridget Myers. I'm from Howard Stein Hudson. We're the consultant working for Mass DOT. I had a few slides. I just plugged in a flash drive, but not showing up. Should it just be plugging it into this port here?
Are you trying to share something?
Yeah.
I've never involved myself with that process. I have no idea.
Oh, really? Okay. I had emailed Peter.
You can feel free to just tell us, kind of walk us through it.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Maybe this one will work. Oh, yeah, that'd be great. It's the PowerPoint. Oh, okay. From district? Okay. I don't know if she's working she's in district projects now. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to show up on my screen at all. It's all right, I can kind of see it from here. Okay. It's live there. I'll see if I can make it out. Yep. Right, so Mass DOT, Bridget Myers, I also have Kevin Thompson from Mass DOT should be on Zoom as well as the applicant. But yeah, you can go to the next slide. So the overall project limits, this is a resurfacing project, and it's about 6.3 miles starting from in the west in Lowell, right by the walkway condominiums, all the way to Riverside Drive in Methuen. So 6.3 miles, but the area in Lowell is of just about 0.35 miles, small area from there to the Lowell-Dracut line. Go to the next slide. And that's just a zoom in of the project limits and the wastewater treatment plan as a reference. Go to the next slide. So the overview, this project started as a resurfacing project. It's like a maintenance district project, and they were trying to go in with the goal of also seeing what else they could do instead of just repaving and putting down the same cross section. So while trying to stay within the realm of a resurfacing project, meaning we can't take any easements, it's all gonna be within the state highway layout, but so they were trying to work in some complete streets improvements. So part of the work will be resurfacing, putting back a different cross section, but they also are going to be reconstructing the entire sidewalk on the north side of the road, as well as adding some ped and bike improvements. So mainly mill and overlay. There's some minor isolated areas where we have some full depth pavement. I don't think there's much of that in Lowell. I think that's all I had on that slide. And then the add date is August 31st of this year. Go to the next slide, please. This is just to give you an idea of what the typical cross section is going to look like for the bulk of the corridor. And it's going to kind of keeping within the existing pavement limits, but they're going to reconfigure the existing pavement out there. It's about 40 feet wide. It's pretty wide. So there'll be 11-foot travel lanes, a 4-foot buffer, and 5-foot bike lanes, and there'll be rumble strips separating them. There was significant public outreach process during the design development phase, but that's where we are with that. Actually, the next slide shows what it's not more of the technical cross section, but actually in the area of Lowell, this is what is going to be along from the western project limits, kind of past the walkway condominiums to like the second driveway of the wastewater treatment plant, because there's already that kind of sidewalk on the south side. I don't know if you could barely call it that, but there is some curb on that side with condominiums. So that area is just going to be reconstructed to more formalize that. So that section will be more like a shared use path. And there'll be some kind of minor intersection, just geometric improvements at First Street, just to kind of tee it up a little bit better what we can within the state highway layout. Go to the next slide. That's just a plan view of what we're doing. On the top, you can see the resource area lines, the blue mean high water line of the Merrimack River, and then the 25-foot riverfront area, and then the 100-foot buffer zone that's at the very western project limits. And then the next slide kind of covers where all of our Lowell area. So you can kind of see that yellow highlighted area is our work within the 100-foot buffer zone of the Merrimack River, right where we're hitting the Lowell-Dracut line, where the river starts coming up closer to the roadway. So our work here is just about, like, as you can see, 1,470 square feet, plus or minus, of work within the buffer zone. Next slide. And then the mitigation measures we're proposing for this project are mainly sedimentation control barrier, and then we have provisions for the extended shutdown stabilization if that does occur during construction. I think that's it for the slides. Yep.
So considering that you're leaving here and going right to directly adjacent to the river, our comments are probably pretty minimal in comparison to what you will hear during this presentation process. I've spent time personally combating the Japanese knotweed in this area.
Okay.
And I know that it's not, I'm not trying to change your policy right now, but I would love eventually to find a way that DOT doesn't mow down things that grow from rhizomes, especially invasive plant species. This area is flush with bamboo. This project probably doesn't even have any excavation equipment. It's just a paving box and a grinder.
There might be a little with the
Little one,
sidewalk
right?
work, but
So it's not
yeah,
really
not a
the one to
huge-
pick the battle, but what I'm getting at is that we'd love to find a way to contain the spread of these invasive plant species, especially something as easy to contain, which just involves like not mowing it into pieces that then turn into basically seeds.
Right, yep.
I mean, that's my semi-related comment on this project.
Okay. Yeah, and I can bring that back to MassDOT as well.
I noticed there was a small area that's within 100 feet. So what is the closest area? What is the closest footage of work that you're going to be to the resource area?
Oh, the distance.
It's probably over 50 feet.
Yeah, I would think so.
85,
I don't have
yeah.
that. Let's see if I can just kind of eyeball it off the plan. The closest, yeah, it does, because it does look to be about halfway between the 100-foot and the 25-foot, so maybe more than 50 feet away.
Okay. Any other questions? Ready for a motion?
I'm ready when you are.
It
All right.
mentions, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
There's a mention that erosion and sediment control, the method will be determined by the contractor. You're going to be going forward, I'm assuming, what is the methods that they're going to mention?
We originally were thinking about compost filter tubes. I know in talking with MassDOT, they wanted to kind of leave it more as just called out a sedimentation control barrier, just to give the contractors some more.
The filter sock?
Yeah, basically the same thing. Yeah.
Will they be staked?
We can call it out to be staked. Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion to make a -3 determination with the condition that the filter socks be staked.
Second?
We have
I'll second that
someone in the
motion.
crowd.
Oh, hi. Absolutely. Come on up.
Hi.
Start by introducing yourself and your address, please.
My name is James Harrington. I live on Christian Street in Lowell. The area that she's talking about is about the same, the distance from the road to the river is about the same as it is in Dracut for a much longer distance than it is in Lowell.
Sure.
Has Dracut commented, and you wouldn't want to say something that Dracut disagreed with or something like that? That's just a thought.
So what I was getting at, the beginning of my comment started with like, they're going to get under way more scrutiny on other boards. They're going to go down the river and they're going to be right next to the river for their entire township. So
So we don't have their comments yet. Actually, we have staff over. Their commission meeting is tonight as well, so we have staff over in Dracut tonight.
There you go.
As well for our NOI,
So,
and we'll be in with them next week.
The motion was made.
yeah. So motion's made. And do we have a second?
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item up is an emergency certificate, City of Lowell, DPW, project location Circuit Avenue and Felton Street. The City of Lowell DPW has requested an emergency certificate to create a small breach in a beaver dam to allow water to flow and abate a flooding emergency. The approval will not allow for a whole dam removal. Good evening. Hi, Paul. Thanks for coming.
glad to be here. Just to give an update, we found that we had some beaver activity or suspected beaver activity in this area right near the culvert on Circuit Ave. We applied for this the certificate to be able to move forward. We have a vendor, Wachusett Wildlife, who we've used for years at this point, who came out, saw the evidence, and was able to, we pulled 3 beavers actually from this location. So they were pretty industrious getting the job done there, but it was right at the mouth of the culvert, so it was causing some issues there.
So this is pretty standard practice in this case. We are here to verify that this work was, standard practice, and that there was no issues in the deployment of avoiding a flood for our neighbors.
Right.
In the spirit of history of the board, I would like to just ask you to verify what, where these animals were brought.
They're actually relocated by Wachusett Wildlife. They have a few different locations that they bring them to as part of their service. I can find out the exact location for you if you like and send an update along.
So this is something that I think it's the first time that I've heard where they're actually live relocated.
Right.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yep. Here comes the rain.
It's interesting.
All right. So yeah, I in that case, then I have absolutely no issue with this, and
Likewise.
Perfectly fine.
a motion. We're looking for a ratification of the emergency certificate.
Motion to ratify the emergency certificate. I'll second that.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Next up, we have an enforcement order, Berkeley Development LLC, at location 129 Llewellyn Street and 115 Christian Street. An enforcement order has been issued to Berkeley Development LLC for filling within the buffer zone to a protected wetland. This enforcement order came to the topic of conversation based on an application that asked the Lowell Conservation Commission to make a determination about whether or not wetlands existed on the property. During that process, we opted to hire a third-party review, a peer review, that showed us evidence of both filling on the property and potential wetlands. The applicant now has appealed this decision that we've made in following our third-party review to the DEP, and just the same, we have made our decision, and we are filing an enforcement order. Granted, the appeal may find that we were incorrect, in which case this enforcement order is again up for discussion. But in the meantime, the decision of this board is standing, and so the issue is that fill was found in wetland areas, in hydric soils, and it's up to us now to decide how this should be rectified.
I believe the fill should be removed. We should probably wait until we hear back from the state to see what their opinion is on the whole case overall. But as far as the enforcement order is concerned, we're pretty stringent with putting fill within a buffer zone of a wetland. Does anyone else have any comments?
Upon the removal of the fill, what would it be replaced with? Or would they just remove that?
So that's a pretty lengthy conversation and bringing us to its original state. I'm of the opinion that we, knowing that this has been appealed, the appeal process is not lengthy. We should let DEP make their decision before we deliberate and, spend the people's time here to decide whether or not action should be taken. We certainly can't, even if we were to deliberate and decide on what action should be taken, I think it would be haste of us to force them to do the work of removal before a decision is made. And so we should let the appeal process play out. Construction can't take place on this property under an enforcement order, and no work will continue, with this deliberation in place. The applicant is here today. Is that process accepted? Sure. Yeah, so they have no intention of doing any work there anyway.
Okay, that's fine.
Are we looking for a continuance?
I think that it's in the best interest of our position to continue. I mean,
I agree.
yeah.
Are we going, how long is, we don't know how long the process is going to take. If we continue it to the next meeting,
40 days. So we'll put this on for the second Wednesday in, what's it, the third Wednesday in August? Is that the 21st is our next meeting?
There's only one meeting in August. The meeting after that is September 11th.
So I don't know if our meeting is the August 14th or the August 21st Wednesday.
It's August 7th.
August 7th?
Yep. So the meeting after that would be September 11th.
should probably hold off till the 11th.
I'll put this in your position, in your court then. 40 days is slightly after the August meeting and well before the September meeting. Would you like for us to deliberate this tonight and have some idea of if your appeal is denied by the DEP, what would need to be done to rectify this?
Should ask him to come up.
Do you mind, can you come up to the mic?
We'll address it then, we'll bring in both the engineers and we'll determine what's wet and what's not.
That's great. Thank you.
offered that
I
last
agree.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. In that case, I'd like to continue this to the September 11th meeting.
If it's sooner, we'll reach out.
Yeah, if we get an approval in time to, should we put it on for the August meeting? And that way, if we get a decision, we can just have this conversation in August instead of pushing it necessarily down to September.
You could do that, and then you
Let's do that.
You can always remove it, right?
So what was it,
we can
August
we'd continue
August
it again.
7th?
Most likely on August 7th, this will remain on the agenda, but we will continue again to the September 11th meeting.
Okay, I'll
So-
make a motion to continue this enforcement order to the August 7th meeting.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next up on the agenda, we have an order of conditions extension from the Markley Group LLC, project location 2 Prince Avenue. The Markley Group LLC has applied for an extension to their order of conditions, DEP file number 2060787, issued for work associated with the front parking lot, retaining wall, and other related work. The applicant is requesting a 6-month extension. Hello.
Yes, hello. My name is Anna John. I'm a civil engineer with Stantec. I'm joined by Tony Mora from Stantec and Devin Cutchins from the Markley Group. We have a presentation that I think will be popping up on the screen any minute, but we just wanted to come and check in with the commission. Yep, there it is. Thank you, Dylan. If you can go ahead and go to the next slide. Perfect, thank you. So just as a refresher, this is the plan that we were in front of you about a year ago that got approved. It is for the parking lot project and the generator wall construction. And we are well underway on construction, but it's just taking us a little bit longer than anticipated. So I'm going to go through some site photos and then be able to answer any questions. So if you go to the next slide, we're just going to go through a couple photos really quickly. Dylan, you can go ahead and click through these of what the site looked like when it was acquired by the Markley Group in 2015. It was almost entirely impervious, and there was a lot of trash and debris that needed to be cleaned up. It had been abandoned, there was some graffiti. So over the last 9 years or so, a lot of time and effort has gone into cleaning it up. So this is what the front parking lot looked like about a year ago. Again, it was entirely paved almost. There were some plantings put in by the Markley Group that you see on the right there. But it's basically just a very large paved parking lot. So this is where we are today. The current construction progress. So these photos are from earlier this week, but the parking lot has been filled. The utilities are in. So the drainage system, the subsurface chambers have been installed. That's the surface basin that you see there on the screen. So we're continuing to work on stabilizing the areas, planting them, paving them where needed. And the large area that is still outstanding is the generator retaining wall. The way that the phasing of construction has worked, they started on the parking lot and are working their way over to the wall. There have been a lot of unforeseen subsurface conditions that have slowed construction down here and there, and just the general time to acquire materials, obtain designs has taken a little bit longer than we had hoped. So we are seeking a 6-month extension for this order that is set to expire this September. And with that, I will give it up for any questions.
The Conservation Commission was invited on a site walk recently. Appreciate the time that you guys took to show us around. It really did look great, well groomed, well manicured, great layout. You know, as far as extensions to orders of conditions, I don't take any exception. Sometimes construction takes a little longer than we think it's going to.
There are no changes to any of the plans, correct?
Nope, not at this time. We are filing an NOI for future planned work, but the plan that was approved is underway with no changes.
Okay, then I have no further questions.
A motion?
I'm ready to make a motion. I make a motion to extend the order of conditions for the next 6 months.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Last up, 6:26 meeting minutes. Any comments?
I'm making a motion to approve them.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any comments, Dylan? Last word?
Kevin, can I just ask you to clarify the condition on the RDA for the street improvements? I think it was-
So you wanted the screens, the
So this is
filters,
this.
the filter socks to be
The ero-
tied down?
Yeah, the erosion control barriers to be staked.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
I like that move. Sending both your teams to 2 different conservation commissions in the same night. It's a good one. It could backfire, but I like it.
Okay.
Any other comments?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.